Hey guys, Riley Moore here with Easy Driver. As part of our ongoing vlog series, we're going to talk about tips and the best way for you as a rideshare driver to handle those. Just a disclaimer, I'm in my car today, but I'm not actually driving. There's construction happening in my house, so this is a quiet place where I can do this easily. So let's jump right into it. And don't drive and do Facebook Live at the same time. That's dangerous. That's why I say that. So let's jump right into it. Tips, they're taxable, okay? Just like all of your income that you make, okay? They're taxable. And this means that in the eyes of the IRS and the federal government, you're responsible for reporting them to the IRS. And then once you do that, you might have to pay income, Social Security, Medicare taxes on that income that you report. You might have had previous experiences with tips, like if you were an employee of a company, like let's say a restaurant, and you were a waiter or a waitress, you made tips, and you might think, well, I never reported those, I never paid taxes on those. Well, a lot of restaurants do this, and it's not correct, but they do have to take part of your paycheck and use that to pay these taxes on your behalf, and they do that a lot of times without telling you. The way it's actually supposed to work is that within 10 days of the end of the month, you're supposed to report back to your employer, like at a restaurant, if you're a waiter or a waitress, how much money worth of tips you made for that month. Then they take that dollar amount and they report it to the IRS, and then they take half of the money for your tax bill out of your next paycheck, and they pay the other half. So it's actually supposed to be this communication loop where you tell them, they tell the IRS, and then you guys split the cost of the tax bill for that month. But restaurants don't do that. They just kind of do it and they don't tell you, or maybe they don't do it at all. All of that stuff is wrong, and people get in trouble for that all of the time. So this is about how to do it correctly. And since you're a rideshare driver, you're technically a small business, and being a small business, that means that you have to file and pay your business taxes in a certain way. This is the key difference between being employed. One of the key differences between being employed and being a self-employed person is that your paycheck doesn't have any withholdings taken out of it, so you have to deal with all of the taxes yourself. As a rideshare driver, what you need to do is you don't necessarily have to record every individual time that you get a tip. It's usually you can just record all of it within some general reasonable time period. The IRS will usually ask for, hey, how much money did you make every 3 months from tips? But sometimes they can ask for more than that. So it's always best to be ready to prove how much you made, how you made it, and when you made it. So it's kind of one of those things where 3 months is like probably the maximum amount of time that you would want to say tips for these 3 months was this much. You probably want to be a little bit more specific than that, and you can get as specific as you want. There are a few different ways to do that. Of course, probably the most obvious way to do that is to keep a piece of paper or a notebook in your car and a pen, and every time you go out driving, oh, I made $27 in tips today, just write it down and then the date next to it. You could be more sophisticated than that. You could use your phone. You could use the notepad tool in your phone. Android has one, iPhone has one. There's a bunch of apps that keep notes too, but that doesn't really have a calculator in it, so that might not be very helpful when you're trying to sum up 90 days worth of tips. You're going to have to punch 90 numbers into a calculator. So if you want to do it, go ahead and do it that way, but that seems kind of silly to me. The other way you could do it is you could use Excel or Google Sheets on your phone and track it that way. Again, you would have to write a sum function, which is, easy to do in Excel, but you would still have to do it. If you aren't that meticulous as a person, we suggest you try our free app, Easy Driver. You can sign up today, and you can get a free trial for that. We're running a promo right now. The app is only $5. Usually it's $10. So it's really cheap right now. We're going to turn this promo off in a while, so it's a limited time kind of thing. But regardless of how you decide to track your tips, like an Easy Driver, we have one way that's automated, where if you deposit the money, we automatically pick it up and know that it was a tip just by the way that the bank handled the deposit, and then we associate that with your tip income, and that will satiate the IRS's requirements. For record keeping, the other way is we have a more manual entry system. Like if you don't want to put it in your bank, you just want to put it in your pocket, we have a really easy kind of like an automated wizard. It'll ask you a question, you give it an answer, and then given that answer, it asks you the next question. So it's really the easiest way that we've ever seen to do tip handling, because usually cash entries and accounting softwares are really hard, and we made ours very easy for you guys. But regardless of how you decide to track your tips, don't think that you can hide them forever, because you can't. And with the increased scrutiny on rideshare drivers from tax offices and things like that, especially in the Bay Area with Jose Cisneros, the treasurer for San Francisco, they're going berserk over there. They're going absolutely insane about rideshare drivers who aren't paying their taxes, and this is probably one of the top issues that they're pretty upset about right now. So don't think you can sweep all this under the rug forever, because if you do get caught, you can get a tax penalty, you can get fees, you can get your credit score damaged. Worst case scenario, you can even get audited, and then Uber and Lyft are gonna, probably have issues with that as well, and they might cancel your contract with them. It's kind of endless. So it's not really worth it necessarily financially for a lot of people to hide that money, because it's the amount of money you save is very small compared to the risk that you're actually facing. We heard about a new product, and we're not associated with them. We've never talked to them, but we looked at their product. It's not out yet. They're working on it though, and it's a way that you can have like a credit card swiping mechanism in your car. You could hang it on the back of your headrest, and it would show the passengers in the back. You can put money into it, so it's like a little lockbox with a screen on it and a credit card swiping terminal, and so they can put money directly into the lockbox, so they can do cash, or they can swipe their card and then enter the amount of tip that they want to give to you from their card. And it's called PAX, PAX.tips. That's their website, PAX.tips. They have a waiting list. We signed up. We'll probably buy one just to see what it's like, because that's interesting. They said they did some testing, and people made between $10 and $20 a day using their PAX box. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but honestly, if I'm driving 5 days a week and I'm making $10 a day, that's an extra $200 a month. That's probably worth it for me. So it's not a lot in any given day that the box generates, but over a month, a year, that's $2,400, $2,400 in tips. So that's pretty good on average. I would probably try that out. But like I said, it's not out yet. They're still building it. They did a Kickstarter, raised some money that way. But keep an eye out for them. They have a sign-up list. You can get information. But anyways, guys, basically the bottom line is this. Tips are, part of your income. You have to pay money. You have to pay taxes on those tips. So you need to report those tips. There's a few different ways to track it. You can do it yourself, or you can use our app, which kind of does it for you. And then once you do get that money summed up at the end of the year, it's a part of your regular income on your 1040 Schedule C. You can break it out in a little bit more detailed, but do not go more than 3 months. Do not say my total tips for this year were $5,000. Don't do that. It's got to be in a 3-month period, and you should keep more detailed records than probably even 3 months, just to watch out for the IRS as they really start to scrutinize rideshare drivers. Anyways, guys, if you have questions, leave a comment or tweet at us, or however you want to contact us. We have a lot of different communication channels that we regularly check, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. All right, thanks a lot, everybody. Talk.